We're going to take a minute here and talk about wheel spacing and talk about the difference between a 17.6, a 17.5, or an 18.5, 18.6, and exactly how you get those measurements. So Glenn, if I've got a wheel here in my shop and I call to order another and I want to be able to tell you what size wheel I have, how would I measure that?
Basically, you could take the box top off your wheel box and measure from outside the rim lip, or if you have an inside beadlock, you could measure from outside the beadlock ring into the outside of the wheel center, and that will be the width of your wheel half. But to get the back spacing, you subtract 1 inch. So the back spacing that you would order on this wheel would actually be a 5 off back spacing, but it's actually a 6-inch wheel half.
So when you measure to the back of the center, you're measuring to the back of the spline or to the back of where it bolts to the wheel?
The back of where it bolts to the wheel.
Okay, so we're going to place that tape measure against the back of the center, measure out to the outer rim lift. That's giving us our wheel half, because the wheel lift that we have here is basically the same thickness as the center, so that's what's giving us that offset.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. So if I've measured a 6-inch half here, we're calling that a 5 off wheel. So I've determined that I've got a 6 off inner half. So if I want a 17.5 wheel, what two halves are going to make that wheel up?
Well, obviously you start off with the inside half, and that would be with 5 off back spacing. And then you would add whatever you need to the outside half to make the width of the wheel. So if you were going to go to a 17, you would order 11-inch wheel half for a replacement part. If you were ordering a wheel, automatically that's what we would do. We'd put a 6 and an 11 to make 17 with a 5-inch back spacing.
So on this 17.5 wheel right here, we've measured that we have a 6-inch inner half. We did that with our straight edge, right? So 17.5 is a 6-inch inner, and then obviously we're going to add an 11 to get to our 17 inches.
Correct.
So we would order, in this case, this would be a 11-inch outer half with a beadlock welded on it.
Correct.
And we would order the 6-inch inner half for replacement parts.
Correct.
Now, since this measured 6, if I just wanted to order a spare wheel complete, I would order that as a 17.5.
Correct, yep.
Gotcha. Okay, so that is how you measure back spacing on a standard wheel. Now, what about if I have a competitor's wheel? I noticed that some of the other competitors, their back spacing measures a little bit different. So if I have a competitor's wheel, but I'm wanting to switch to a standard wheel, and let's say I put my back spacing in there and it measures, what I've seen in the market is it might measure 5.5, which is what they call a 6 off. So when I go here, what am I going to see the difference? If I measure 5.5 there, what wheel half is that going to be in ours?
It will be a 6 off in our wheel. And you have to remember that all our wheel halves are even inch increments. So we don't make halves that are 4.5, where our competitor, they have halves that aren't always equal.
All right, so we keep it nice and even. So going from a competitor, if we do the same measurement on a competitor's wheel and it's a 5.5, we're going to call that a 6-inch half here in Sander wheels. Again, going back to a 5-inch back spacing. So review one more time. 17.5 wheel, when we go to measure with our straight edge with our box, if we don't have a long enough straight edge, we can cut the box, it works out great. But we can put that on there, measure to where the wheel center bolts to the wheel half. So
Right,
to
the back of the wheel
to
center.
the back of the wheel center.
Like this would be?
Just like that. Okay, so we're going to measure that. We see 6 inches. So we got a 6-inch half. To make 17, we got an 11-inch outer beadlock half. And it's real clear, too, that when we're ordering those halves, we want to specify if we're ordering an inner or an outer half, because that tells us if we want to put the valve stem hole in it, correct?
Correct.
So we've got them on the shelf with no valve stem holes. If you let us know it's going to be an outer, especially on your left rears, because that might be a non-beadlock half, but you want a valve stem hole in it. So specify that to us as well. And if they have any questions, they can call us, of course, right?
Call our tech department anytime they want. We'll answer any question.
Great. So hopefully that helps you out, gives you an idea, a better understanding of how to order not only your wheels, but your replacement halves. And again, if you have any questions, give us a call.